What's happening, guys? This is episode 56 of House Cat MMA, and right now I'm going to be riffing about why I think Islam Makhachev is better than Khabib Nurmagomedov. But before I get into all that, if you would just take a second to like and subscribe, maybe do a little bit of commenting and sharing, that'll be the coolest shit you've done today. So, comparing Islam Makhachev and Khabib Nurmagomedov is a whole lot like comparing Eminem to Lil Wayne. It's a whole lot like comparing Ted Bundy to Richard Ramirez. It's a whole lot like comparing Al Bundy and Danny Tanner. It's just, you're just comparing two of the greats in any realm. And I just feel like going 17-1 in the UFC is a little more impressive than going 13-0. But you could argue for Khabib that, his career was one big win streak, a 29 fight win streak. You could argue that, and I'd agree with that. So that's one thing Khabib's got going for him. Though I like the sound of 17-1 in the UFC more than I like the sound of 13-0 in the UFC. But I give Khabib his flowers on being undefeated. And that's the thing. I think people have maybe a little bit too much of a hyperfixation on the O on Khabib's record, and I get it. Being undefeated's cool. I'm not undefeated. I think Khabib had slightly better chain wrestling, though Islam Makhachev has great chain wrestling. I think that Khabib is about that much better. So he's got that going for him. But I think Makhachev has slightly better hands, and I think he's got a little bit more knockout power. And I also think he fights, though Islam's not on his back foot a lot. When the couple of times he has been on his back foot, he fights considerably better off his back foot than Khabib does. Khabib kind of, when he'd start getting hit, he would turtle up a little bit, then he'd go for the takedown, and he'd always get it. His wrestling is so good that he could get away with that. So Islam's a little bit better of a striker. And plus, I will say this about Khabib: if Khabib was first, he could walk your ass down. If you allowed Khabib to go first, like Khabib walked Edson Barboza down because Edson Barboza kept on letting Khabib be first. And also, when Khabib fought Michael Johnson, there was a point in time in the first round when Michael Johnson had Khabib a little bit hurt. And I think if Michael Johnson, if he would have calmed down a little bit and sat down on his punches a little more, I think he would have dropped Khabib. I don't know if he would have finished Khabib, but I think he would have dropped Khabib. It was looking not great for a second. I think when Khabib fought Conor McGregor, and in the second round when Khabib dropped McGregor, I think if it was Makhachev dropping Conor, I think Makhachev would have got an arm triangle on Conor in the second round. Khabib didn't finish Conor until the fourth. This is just pure speculation on my part. I think Makhachev would have got Conor out of there much quicker. But Khabib did dominate. Khabib put a hurting on Dustin Poirier. And Islam kind of did, but Poirier gave Islam more trouble than he gave Khabib. Khabib had a much more dominant performance against Poirier. But that doesn't really mean a whole lot because when Khabib fought Ali Quinta, that was kind of closer than people expected. It wasn't exactly a close fight, but it's closer than people expected. And when Islam fought Volkanovski the first time, that was a razor close fight. So the greats are always going to have really close fights. There's always going to be that one guy that gives them a great fight, a whole lot like how Dominic Reyes and Gustafsson had a really close fight against John Jones. That's just gonna happen. It's rare that an elite guy like your undefeated or damn near undefeated guys. It's rare that they just. I don't think they ever just have a non-close fight at some point in their career. I think Islam was a little was because Khabib no longer fights a little more. I think he's a little more active than Khabib was. I think Islam's slightly, very slightly, because it's not like Khabib got hurt a lot, but I think Islam's slightly less injury prone. And I think I was thinking, is Khabib stronger than Islam? They're both so similar in strength, but I was thinking if I were to give a strength edge, who would I give that to? And I'd say that's pretty dead even. Then it kind of goes down to who would have won if Islam Makhachev and Khabib fought. And I think Islam could keep it on the feet against Khabib. And if it stays on the feet, I don't want to say that Islam wouldn't hear a peep out of Khabib, but he wouldn't hear that much of a peep out of Khabib on the feet. Not that Islam's just this crazy striker, but he's a pretty good striker. And I think he'd be able to get Khabib on his back foot. And like I was saying, Khabib didn't do great on his back foot. And I think Khabib never got dead dog tired or nothing, but I think Islam has a slightly better gas tank. And Khabib would throw kicks, but Khabib did not have any good like head kick knockouts, and Islam has one. You know what I'm saying? And as far as their finishing rates go, Khabib was 13-0 in the UFC, 7 by finish, 6 by decision, and Islam is 17-1, like I was saying earlier, in the UFC, and he's got 11 finishes and 6 by decision. That means a little bit. That means a little something. So I do think Islam is a little bit more of a finisher. I don't think Khabib would have fucked Jack Della Maddalena up the way Islam did. I mean, Islam made Jack Della Maddalena look like a fucking baby water moccasin in there. I mean, it was like a mongoose versus a month-and-a-half old water moccasin or a 2-month-old copperhead. I mean, that shit was just crazy to me. But that's pretty much all I have on that. I think Islam's just a little bit better than Khabib. I think that's the real what if fight. You know, you got your what if fights, you know, like what if GSP fought Anderson Silva. What else is there? You got my what if fight's always been what if Kamaru Usman and GSP fought. That would have been pretty tight. Or like what about Volkov versus Jose Aldo, like 2011 Jose Aldo, like 2011, 2012 Jose Aldo. You know, that would have been a pretty good what if fight. So that's pretty much all I have on that. This is House Cat MMA, and I will catch y'all later.